What's up, guys? In this video, we're going to talk all about the elevator pitch of HEX. So what is so great about HEX anyway? You might have heard about it, but you might not have ever learned what it was actually all about. Well, it's pretty simple, right? The goal of cryptocurrency in general was to get rid of middlemen, right? So Bitcoin did a great job at this, and it set out to be digital peer-to-peer cash, but it didn't really fulfill that ideal. But what it settled on was digital gold, essentially, a digital store of value. Gold is a $7 trillion market, and Bitcoin is fulfilling the digital version of this, right? Because we people, humans, tend to digitize things we like. So Bitcoin invented the concept of digital scarcity, and it's doing great as a digital gold, right? And then Ethereum came along, and it became kind of like the digital oil or the digital fuel that you can kind of build things on top of, right? And that paved a new path and unlocked a lot of doors for new companies and new creative innovators to come along and build smart contracts on top of Ethereum, right? And so that's how DeFi kind of emerged. The concept of decentralized finance means that we're trying to decentralize all of traditional finance, right? All of the inefficiencies that come along with it, with their terrible hours, their terrible interest rates, bad customer service, and all that. DeFi is basically making peer-to-peer versions of all that stuff. And so if we're going to replace all the middlemen and we're going to replace all the traditional products at a bank, do you know the second most popular product at a bank? No? It's actually the certificate of deposit. It's the CD, right? So what HEX is trying to do is actually be the world's first ever blockchain CD. And it's an immutable smart contract with no admin keys, no backdoors. It's super secure. It's been audited 3 times. Bitcoin wasn't even audited once, right? And that's besides the point. And the market that HEX is trying to tackle, the CD market, is a market that is actually worth more than gold, more than credit card companies, more than payments all combined. So the CD market is actually a bigger market than all of this stuff. And so if we're going to be the first ever blockchain CD, we're actually the first cryptocurrency that monetizes time in a totally unique way. So you can stake your HEX, you lock it up, and it's much more flexible than a traditional CD where you would have to pick terms of, you'd have to go by the bank's terms, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. You don't really get much flexibility. It's hard to fit into your lifestyle, and not to mention terrible customer service and pitifully low interest rates that can't even beat inflation, right? So if you're getting a 1.5% interest rate, you're actually losing money because the traditional financial system and the governments out there, they just keep printing it. So your dollar's getting worth less and less every single day. And that's what crypto and that's what HEX is here to fix. So with HEX, you can actually choose to lock up your money in what's called a stake, right? So you stake your HEX for a certain length of time, and it goes by days, right? So you can stake it anywhere from 1 day all the way to the max of 5,555 days. And over that time, depending on how big you lock up and how long you lock up, you get paid more interest, right? And so that's called longer pays better and bigger pays better. So there's bonuses for locking up longer and bigger, right? Just like in the real world. And right now, HEX stakes are averaging about 40% APY, which is paid in HEX. It's not paid in dollars. And simply put, the contract is minting you this HEX through inflation of the coin, which is all programmed into the immutable code, which, like I mentioned earlier, has no backdoors, no ways for anybody to edit the code. It's truly immutable the way smart contracts were intended to be, right? So while this contract is generating you interest, you just sit back and wait and let that interest accrue, again, paid in HEX. So let's say I lock up 100,000 HEX. Well, right now, the interest rates are about 40% APY. Now, this is a variable interest rate, okay? This interest rate depends on the total percentage of stakers to non-stakers in the entire pool. So as a percentage of all the coins in existence, the percentage of coins that are staked dictates the amount of APY that you are getting as a staker. So if less people are staked, the interest rate is higher to attract more people to come in. If more people are staked, the interest rate actually gets lower, which, at this point, when more people come in, that's actually a good thing because that means the price must be higher. And we must have had a lot more adoption, right? So interest rates are high when staking adoption is low in order to incentivize people to come in. And the opposite, price is high and interest rates are lower when more people are already in. So it creates this price positive feedback loop, right? And now, one of the unique things about HEX as opposed to other staking coins too, is that there's actually a penalty. There's actually a, just like the real world, just like CDs in the real world, there's a penalty for people if you don't do what you said you were gonna do. So if you stake for a year and you try to end your stake early, you're gonna get heavily penalized. Most staking coins, you can stop staking whenever you want, you can jump ship and you can hop to the next thing. So with HEX, it's called the truth engine. It actually makes you keep true to your word and do what you told the smart contract you would do. So when you set your own stake and you click that button that says stake, you need to realize that this is a serious financial contract that you're making with yourself, right? So if you want the rewards, you actually have to follow through. You can't just bail and hop over to the next thing. Otherwise, you'll pay a pretty high penalty. So that's what HEX is all about. It's the first cryptocurrency to really truly monetize the time value of money in a good, secure, and long-term way. People are staking from anywhere from 1 year to 15 years, and people are voting with their actions that they believe in this coin for a multi-year span, right? And when you actually have skin in the game, you behave a lot differently, right? So, the real breakthrough here was trustless interest, right? So there's no middleman, there's no third party that you have to trust to mint your coins for you. It's all dictated, again, by the smart contract. So the coin inflates at a small rate of 3.69% per year, and that can't be varied. There's no central bank that can adjust the inflation rate and print more money. It's just 3.69%, and that pool is growing every year at a small rate, but those extra coins are only paid to the people that are staking. So if you're staked, you're actually not affected by inflation, right? And that's what also incentivizes people to use HEX the way it was intended to and to stake it for the long term. So in HEX, you want to be a staker. You want to get these benefits of the high interest rates, the high APY, and the long-term potential gains. And it's a lot different than a lot of cryptocurrencies out there because there's a lot of short-term trading mentality types of people that have evolved in the space. And people, if you ask them, a lot of them will not believe in holding their coin any longer than a few weeks or a month. They just want to flip it, get in, get out. HEX is trying to be a financial vehicle that can help build you wealth over the years and really secure a financial foundation by doing what already works in the real world, but in a peer-to-peer, trustless, digital, censorship-resistant, and secure way. So I hope that explained HEX a little bit for you. That was my elevator pitch. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next video.